passed Eric Dickerson for number 2 all-time in rushing. Barry now with 13,319 yards. He trails now only one man, and by the name of Walter Payton, 16,726 yards. And Walter is good enough to join us tonight. See, we have him with us. See, we get the number 1 guy with us. Walter with us in Starkville, Mississippi. What were they? You still, tacklers still can't find you? Where are you? What are you doing?
I heard it was an opening for a job up here at Mississippi State. They needed a boxing coach.
Well, I want to ask you about Barry right away, and then we'll talk about some other things, Walter. Do you see some of you when you watch Barry Sanders on the field?
You know, it's amazing. Everybody, they always talk about, comparing this and that. Barry has his own style. I think there are some things that we do based on the nature of the job that we do, but and the situations that we get in. But I'm amazed when I watch him because it seems like everybody wants to tackle him so hard and hit him so hard that they don't. And the more intense they are, the more relaxed he is and the more shifty he is. He's just a great guy to watch. And you know what's so good about it is that he's a class guy, and that's the key.
Walter, when I played against you, one of the things that I was always struck by is the fact that you intimidated by being quiet on the field. I was always bothered by the fact that you never said anything. Were you conscious of what you were doing?
Oh, yes. I learned that a long time ago from my mom and dad. Keep your mouth shut and just do your job. And if you do it that way, people then they will respect you. And then if you always talk, they don't know what, they already know what you're all about because you're opening your mouth. So I just keep my mouth shut and just focus on my job at hand.
I remember we visited the week that you were going to pass Jim Brown, which at the time he had the number 1, he was number 1 on the all-time rushing list when you passed him in that game against the Saints in 1984. And you said at the time, I'm going to put this thing up, if I'm lucky enough, so high that it may not stand forever, but it will stand for a while. Now, Barry's 3,500 yards away still, but your thoughts on it being approached? Did you think it would happen this fast, or did you not give it much thought, Walter?
I've given it a lot of thought because everybody's always bringing it up to me. Everywhere I go, everybody's saying, hey, Barry's catching up to you. You're going back. So what I've been doing, I've been working out, so I'm going to go back next year and play.
I guess the one thing that I want to know is, for all of us that played the game before, Walter, and when you watch the games that you watch now, is the game being played as well? And I know it's always hard to make that comparison, but is the game being played as well as it used? I know that there are bigger, faster guys playing. Are they playing it as well?
Well, I think physically, the game, you can't change it. It's run, block, and tackle, and it's tremendous contact that's out there, and these guys have terrific acceleration, and the equipment is getting much better. I think the only difference is it's basically mental, and it's how you approach the game with your mental attitude. If you look at Barry Sanders, you look at some of the other guys that are out there, Bruce Smith, some of these guys, they approach the game and with an attitude like, you know what, I'm going to be the best that I can be. I'm not worried about anybody else, and I'm going to do it, as hard as I can because I'm the only person that knows when I'm dogging it. But the attitude of around the league, it seems to be, you know what, hey, I'm looking for prime time. And, that's not a bad deal. If you could find your prime time and you're able to perform, that's good because the people love it. But, one of the things that Mike Dicker said a long time ago, those guys who dance around every time they get a first down and every time they score a touchdown, he said, how come they don't make them do dances every time they miss one?
Well, you didn't miss many. Wait, and I know you don't regret a thing, you wouldn't trade in a thing, but your first 9 years, the Bears were not a very good ball club, made the playoffs, I think, twice. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you were on a club slightly above average early on, but how high your number would be, or is that just, it doesn't matter?
Well, you could retrogress and go back and try to figure out, what would happen here. You could use the computers to try to project what your outcome would have been. But I think you can't project what your happiness would be. And I think I'm happy with what transpired with the Bears. And I was glad that I had, one team that I played for 13 years. And it was a great experience. I met a lot of guys on our team, and I met a lot of guys such as Tom Jackson. We played together, and we went at each other with a fierce intensity. But once the game was over, we had a tremendous amount of respect for each other. And I think a lot of that is kind of dissipating in the game today.
Well, you were, as usual, class to join us here from Mississippi, and we wish you and your family a happy holidays.
One thing I want to say.
I knew there'd be something else.
It's one guy well, it's a couple of guys that I wouldn't mind standing behind, and because this guy has the class the ability, and he goes to work every day, and he doesn't moan and groan about, being with the team and everything else. I wouldn't mind being behind Barry Sanders because he's a class guy, and I know him personally.
Well, you guys played same division, same size, same demeanor on the field, same elusive moves as usual.
I think I'm better looking.
Happy holidays, Walter.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. He's the best. That's why he was the best.
Great.
He leads, and it's interesting. We had Corey Dillon, 150-plus yards in the first half. Walter, by the way, in case folks have forgotten, 275 yards in one game in 1977. Barry Sanders, what impresses him? I mean, of everything else, Tommy, when you look at Barry Sanders, where do you start? I mean, you're a defensive player.
I've often said that the one thing that he does is he breaks the first rule of being a good running back, and that is he stops his feet from moving on every play. Coaches will tell you have to keep your feet moving. Barry literally will stop 5, 6, 7 times on a play and then restart, and you can't start as quickly as he can. And then the other thing, if you watched him the last couple of years, Barry Sanders used to be a guy who would run 40, 50 yards. He would be caught from behind. Now, all of a sudden, Barry Sanders is a guy who, when he gets away for 80, 75 yards, nobody can catch him.
No, nobody has much this year. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, does it get much better than that? Well, we'll be back in half.
Gets up, scampers over the goal line to score on the year. We're gonna be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party. Rush the quarterback.
Hi, I'm Steve Sable, and we're here in Fort Lauderdale with the Air Force Thunderbirds. Now, you may be asking yourself, why are we doing a football show with these jet pilots? Well, the NFL has a few top guns of their own. They're quarterbacks. Whether aces of the gridiron or aces of the air, both require split-second decision-making. And there's no time to consider the consequences.
Cheetah, 61 steps. 61 drums. 61 drums. Check it. Make it 60 drums. 60.
There's no doubt. It's definitely the toughest thing to do.
Come on, Jim, complete it.
This is slot red right. Check with me. Fast 47 or 80.
Okay.
All the things that are happening around you are hard for people to truly understand.
To the weak side, to the tight end.
Okay.
The guy with the 80 number.
Yeah, I know.
All right, come on, baby.
That's left, 79, double square out. Now, come here. It's on 3 on 3. Don't.
Number one, he's got to know, what everyone around him is doing.
Go with 79, dancer. What's the formation? Panther left. Panther right.
Those 10 people are constantly changing on every down.
And then he's got to know what the 11 guys on the other side of the ball are doing.
They were playing zone, I think. So then you jumped inside, looking for the ball, and there was the Mike back there. I think probably on film, I could have gone like that, but I kind of freaked. I wasn't ready for it.
Knowing the matchups, knowing their tendencies.
And they are constantly changing on every down. And you don't know what's going to happen. And you have to react to it in such a quick time.
You've got about 2.5 seconds to really figure out exactly where you're going to go with the football.
While standing in an interstate highway at rush hour, dodging traffic.
Pick a receiver and read coverages and get the ball delivered.
And at least 4 men who are 250 to 300 pounds are basically trying to hit you so hard that you are unconscious.
And then he struggles to his feet, and even when it's not his fault, the quarterback always takes the blame.
My fault.
He apologizes.
Sorry, Jerry.
Apologizes again.
Sorry, Jerry.
Then he readies himself for the next elbow, inside fastball or slap shot.
Right here. Bam! Right there.
In baseball, a catcher like Dodger All-Star Mike Piazza plays a demanding position. He must squat for 9 innings, call the pitches, hit game-winning homers, and control the game. But no one's in his face when he throws down to second, and the bag never moves. When he gets hit, he knows exactly when, where, and by whom that hit will be delivered.
Having played in baseball, there's no question in my mind, because I think you rely so much on other people.
On both of those, you went before I moved you. Let me get everybody set before you go.
When you're blasted by, say, Charles Haley, you can never let him see you sweat.
What's up, dude?
The quarterback is like a father. He must nurture and encourage,
Attaboy. Brown left, brown
then
left.
scold and discipline.
Come on, man. You do that again, I kill you.
If he exhibits toughness, mental toughness, and physical toughness, it has an opportunity to spread to the rest of your football team.
He got it really good. Oh, that hurts. He got something, I think.
When you have a quarterback and he doesn't have that ingredient, your players find that out so quickly, and they lose confidence in the guy. The quarterback has to be the guy to take the big hit, get back up, and get the guys in the huddle and keep going.
Okay, I think, let's see what we got. I think we're okay.
The point guard in basketball, which may be the only thing that would really compare with it, they've got 10 seconds to get the ball at the court, they can get to see things, and then the game's just not played quite as fast.
Point guard Anthony Hardaway never slips on mud or ice under the hoop. Lobs and trays aren't blown off course by a gust of wind. And on each trip, he always faces the same defense, a man-to-man. Unlike Penny and